G'day guys, it's JB with JB Adventures. Welcome back to another video. We're here at the Sharon Gorge. If that place sounds familiar to you guys, it's because we have been here before. Sharon Gorge is the first place we came and camped when we started our life on the road with VANLIFE and did our hitting the road video. This is the first place we stayed. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come down to the Sharon Gorge and the Burnett River behind me here because the walking track was closed for COVID. So we've come down here now, thought we'd check it out and show you guys. So stick around. So the Sharon Gorge bushwalk is about 900 meters from the campsite all the way down towards the lookout in the Burnett River. It's not a particularly difficult track to walk. It's not very far and it's not very hilly. However, it's not pram friendly either. There are some sections of the track that are just straight boardwalk that are super easy to go along, but there's also some rock steps and places of the track that get quite narrow. So if you've got a baby like we do, be prepared to carry that baby all the way down and all the way back. Okay guys, so we've just left the lookout point at the end of Sharon Gorge bushwalk there and the Burnett River, heading back towards camp now. It's getting a bit later on in the afternoon, which for us means it's getting close to cooking time. Cooking time's not too bad. 90% of the time I cook, the other 5% of the time we starve. But if you live on the road like we do, you'll already know this. And if you don't, but you want to, or you're curious, one of the not so glamorous sides of living on the road is doing dishes. Not a super fun task, so what me and Emma do, usually before we cook dinner, is we have a little ritual that we do that figures out which one of us is going to have to do the dishes. I have a little bit of an upper hand in this because 95% of the time I cook, which means 95% of the time, no matter who's doing the dishes, it's up to me to figure out how many dishes they're going to have to do. So if I lose, we'll probably just have toast, no dishes. If I win, I'll probably make a massive big stew that takes hours to cook and uses every bit of utensil and cutlery and pot and pan that we've got. Just to teach Emma a lesson. No, I'm kidding. So we're gonna head back to camp now. We're going to put this ritual into action, show you guys what we do to figure out who has to do the dishes and any other sort of tasks around the campsite that no one really wants to do, like clean up, whether it's the caravan or the campsite that you're staying at. We're big believers not to leave a footprint. So what's that saying? Take nothing with you, leave only footprints behind, or something like that. It sounded good in my head. It sounded really deep and thought out, but someone else made it up and I forgot it. Okie dokie, so how do we figure out who's going to do the dishes? Today we're going to be playing poker. Poker is one of the favourite games that we play. We also play chess, Monopoly. Basically depends on how much time we've got while Mia goes down for a nap. If it's the middle of the day and Mia's only going to nap for about half an hour, we're just not going to pull out Monopoly because that game can take days and ruin relationships. And we've got to live together on the road. So when we do pull Monopoly out, it's usually in a more friendly environment, you know, with a lot of people around and witnesses. So today we're going to be playing poker. Super simple. We just start with $10,000 worth of chips each and we play it until the other person doesn't have any chips left. Whoever that person is ends up having to do the dishes or whatever the mundane task is that we don't like doing on the road, and there's not a fair way to pick which one of us is going to do it. So this is what we do. What you have? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you can see the chips properly, but you know, just to make sure that they can. That's my chip stack. I don't know if Emma can really sit behind hers. We've got one chip left. I mean, it is a $5,000 chip. I've got one of them, a couple of thousands, 500s and the 100s, but so this could be the last hand, or it could just be the start of a massive game. But I'm keen not to do the dishes, so let's see what happens.
Look it, look it, look it!
There was a straight and a flush draw, and she had the straight, and I didn't make it.
This is it.
That doesn't help me at all. This last card needs to be an 8. Oh!
What the?
Yeah! You're not allowed to swear. Ah, it's hard not to swear. Yay! Would be my response that's PG rated. So there's only 2 8s left in the deck. And I got one of them. So now I've got a full house, 8s and kings. Emma's got 3 of a kind with kings. I honestly thought I was going to be doing the dishes, and we were filming it because I thought I was about to lose. So I'll see you in a bit. We're going to keep going. Again, this sun's disappearing. Alright, she's still beating me in ships, but I'm still in. I'm still in the game. 3, 8. Oh, not even. Okay, so karma's a bit of a double-edged sword. The hand directly after the one that you guys have just seen, where I ended up with a full house. Emma had the nuts, and then I somehow came around and beat her. She's just destroyed me with a straight and got all the chips. So I'm doing the dishes tonight. Huh?
Mommy wins poker. I win.
What a good winner. Okay guys, so obviously I lost poker, so I'm doing the dishes tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do a one pot wonder and stick with something super easy, super tasty, and we're going to have leftovers to take with us in the Waco for later on. So that's your classic beef stew. Okay, so the ingredients for beef stew is pretty much whatever you like to put in there. I will list the ingredients below down in the description. Obviously, I'm going to start off with a little bit of chuck steak. And that's done. No, I'm just gonna. So what we're gonna do with the chuck steak, just gonna sort of cover it in flour. Get it covered in flour. The more bowls you have, the easier this is gonna be. A little bit of oil into the pan. You just want to place your meat in there. Now you're not trying to cook the meat through, you're just trying to brown it off a little bit. So you want to make sure that you can see the bottom of the saucepan. So you don't want to put too many pieces in there at once. So once all your meat's browned off, you want to move on to your onion. You dice your onion up and then chuck it in that same oil that was in the pot. Okay guys, so now the stew's been sitting there simmering for about an hour. I should have mentioned before, but I forgot. In that initial hour worth of the meat and everything sizzling away there. You don't want to put the lid on the top, otherwise that stock's not going to reduce and you're not going to get a nice thick flavour through there. What's going to end up happening is you're basically just going to steam the meat while all that's cooking, and then because you've still got about 45 minutes for your vegetables to go in and cook, that meat's going to be really chewy and hard, and that's the opposite of what you want for a stew. So when that is simmering there for about an hour, make sure you leave the lid off so that stock can reduce. Since it's been sitting there for an hour, we can move on to our vegetables. We're going fairly simple with this, and we got pumpkin, sweet potato, regular potato, and a cup of trucks going past, and a cup of peas, and you're just going to add that back into the meat. So the amount of time that you're going to have to cook your vegetables for is basically depending on how long it's going to take for those vegetables to cook through to where you like them. So because I've been sitting here for the last hour smelling a really nice stew, I've chopped all these vegetables up fairly small so that they cook nice and quickly. And now that we've added the vegetables and everything's in there and it's good to go, we've seasoned, now we're going to chuck the lid on there. And that's going to help steam those vegetables, and all that reduced stock and juices and flavour and goodness, it's just going to soak up into the meat and the veggies. Okay guys, so it's been about 45 minutes to an hour. Just about to check on this stew. That's looking pretty good, I reckon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to let that rest for about 2 minutes. That'll give me just enough time to go get some bowls and start plating this up. That's pretty much it guys, super simple stew. I'm by no means a chef or anything like that, but I do like the idea of every bloke needs to know how to make a half decent stew. That cup of stock that you use at the start, you can use red wine. If you want to use red wine instead, it'll give it a little bit more of a punchy flavour. I didn't have any red wine on board, so we just went with an extra cup of stock. I use beef stock because it's a beef stew, but that's not too bad for outdoor cooking. Oh, she's hot.
It's really yummy though.
Yeah? I'll find out in a second if I can figure out how to hold this without giving myself burns. Come here, you.
Yeah. I'd say just do what I'm doing, but...
Okay. So on a cold night like this, I mean it's not winter but it's still a little bit chilly, so stew is a good one to go to. You can get rid of all the excess stuff that's in your Waco, like the fruit and veg, or not fruit. The vegetables that are in your Waco, just throw them in here. Any potatoes, stuff like that you got left over, throw them in a big pot, make up a mongrel mixed stew and pack some flavour into it like we did, and you're sorted. That's pretty much it for us today guys with JB Adventures. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Well, it's not really yet, honey.
What do you mean?
You still got dishes to do.
Next time I'm making toast.
Thanks for watching guys, we'll see you next week.